Welcome back to Jay All Day. We're going to talk about everything that has to do with NFL Week 4, the good stuff, the bad stuff, who should we be concerned about, and who are the teams that are in the top 5. We had the Seahawks at the Giants tonight. The Seahawks are really banged up. I think Daniel Jones might have a pretty big game tonight. I'm looking at some bets on him for the game. I think Giants win this game 21-17. Then we move on to the Lions-Packers game. The Packers showed their inexperience, and now we're beginning to see why the Lions let DeAndre Swift go to the Eagles. They love David Montgomery, who had a huge game, 32 carries, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But the Packers will be okay, I think. I think they're going to win 7, 8, and if they're lucky, 9 games this year. But the Lions are really starting to pull away from the pack. The NFC isn't too stacked besides the Eagles, Cowboys, and 49ers, so there are some playoff spots to be had for the Lions. Then we move on to the game in London, Jaguars versus the Falcons. The Falcons' quarterback situation is not very good at all. Bijan Robinson again showed why he was a great first-round pick. 14 carries, 105 yards. But the Jaguars' offense was just a little bit too much. 23-7, the Jaguars. I'm not totally sold on the Jaguars. They've been pretty inconsistent. Even in a game where they won, Trevor Lawrence just hasn't been awesome this year. Considering all the weapons he has on offense, I think he should be playing a little bit better. I don't love either of these teams moving forward. Then we had the game of the week, the Dolphins at the Bills. The Bills put a stamp on this game. They crushed all that Dolphins hype in one game, 48-20. Man, the Bills' defense is super legit. And if you look what the Redskins did to the Eagles' defense last week, what they did against Washington was even more impressive. The Bills' defense, easily top 5, maybe even top 3. I love the Bills here. Josh Allen, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns. Man. A-Chain continues to impress. 8 carries, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Dolphins' offense is for real. The Dolphins are going to be fine. They're definitely a playoff team. I don't know who wins this division between the Bills and the Dolphins. The Patriots looked so bad. Mac Jones is an absolute dumpster fire. If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm moving on from Mac Jones. That dude is trash. But Bills and the Dolphins might go down to week 17 or 18 to see who wins that AFC East. Then we move on to the battle of the bums, the Broncos and the Bears. The Bears had a 21-7 lead going into halftime and blew it somehow. Kudos to Russell Wilson and the Broncos coming back in the second half, making some adjustments, and getting their first W, 31-28. Justin Fields crushed it, though, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. God, the Broncos' defense, why do they even play? Why do they even go out there? Oh, my God, they're bush. But more, 8 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Man, the Broncos should be ashamed of themselves. That organization, especially the defense, hot garbage. Then this game kind of surprised me a little bit. Deshaun Watson, I didn't see him in any of the injury reports during the week. I don't know if I just missed it, I overlooked it, or what. But he didn't even play in this game, and the Ravens dominated 28-3. If they don't have Deshaun Watson, I don't think they had a chance to win this game. Lamar Jackson was okay. Andrews finally got involved. 5 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think that connection between Lamar Jackson and tight end Andrews is really, really important for their success moving forward, because no one in that wide receiver room has really stepped up yet. OBJ has been hurt. Zay Flowers is a rookie, so let's see where they go moving forward. I'm not completely sold on the Ravens. I do love the Browns' defense, even though they play like trash. But without Deshaun Watson, they have no chance of competing for a playoff spot. And then, man, the Bengals. What the actual fuck happened to the Bengals? They played that dominant game. I think it was on Monday night against the Rams. The D-line looked really, really good. Joe Burrows and Jamar Chase had a good game. Jamar Chase only had 7 receptions for 73 yards. 3 points against the Titan team. They either look really good or they look like they never played football before in their lives. The week before, they had like 150 yards of total offense between Derrick Henry and passing yards from Ryan Tannehill. I don't think the Titans or the Bengals are making the playoffs, and if they do, they would be limping in. Derrick Henry finally showed up, 22 carries, 122 yards. He'll be fine. He's the least of my concerns. I just think Ryan Tannehill at this point in his career is cooked. Joe Burrow is obviously not right. The Bengals offensive line continues to be absolute bush league. So we'll see where that goes moving forward. And then we had the Rams had a comeback win against the Colts. The Colts have been playing a lot better than I think pretty much the entire league thought. The Colts are okay. Anthony Richardson will be the guy moving forward, but Matt Stafford had a nice bounce-back win, especially after that performance against a terrible Bengals team. They looked awful. They have the Eagles next week. Good luck, Matt Stafford, in that game. Stafford had a good game, 319, a touchdown and a pick, and Williams, 25 carries, 103 yards. That's probably the best situation for the Rams if they can, run the ball 25 to 35 times, take some of that pressure off Matt Stafford. And Nakua, oh my God, he's insanely good. When they get Cooper Kupp back, man, this offense is going to hum. 9 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. Yo, dude, Nakua is for real. And then we have the Bucs, who really surprised me. I thought the Saints defense was going to hold up a little bit better, but man, Baker Mayfield's been pretty good. 246, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Not too shabby. Godwin for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 8 receptions, 114 yards. I mean, between Godwin and Mike Evans, they have, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Eagles probably have the best 2 duos in the NFL at the wide receiver position. But man, Tampa Bay's looking pretty good. They might be able to sneak into the playoffs if they keep playing consistent, and Baker Mayfield continues to not really turn the ball over. And then we had probably the craziest game of the week, the Commanders at the Eagles. The Commanders played really, really, really good, but the Eagles' defense looked terrible. Their defensive coordinator is a rookie defensive coordinator. He is awful. He doesn't know when to dial up pressure. He doesn't know when to go into cover 2 and cover 3 and drop into his zone. I'm not sold on their defensive coordinator or their offensive coordinator, but A.J. Brown had a killer game. 9 receptions, 175, 2 touchdowns. And DeAndre Swift continues to impress. 14 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts went for 319 yards. He was dropping some balls in buckets yesterday, fitting balls into tight windows. Jalen Hurts and the Birds are for real. They need to figure out what the hell's going on with this defense, though, because you get an inexperienced quarterback, you need to dial up some goddamn pressure, and 3rd and long, you can't be dropping back into these zones and let these receivers find homes in the zone and get open. It's terrible coaching, and head coach Nick Sirianni needs to sit down with his offensive and defensive coordinators and figure out what the hell is going on if they want to continue to put pressure on the Cowboys, who bounced back big last week. Vikings got their first win of the year, beating a terrible Panthers team 21-13. Oh, Kirk Cousins, man, he sucks. I feel bad for Vikings fans because Justin Jefferson is a dog, and Kirk Cousins just throws picks like it's going out of style. And then we have the Steelers, who got absolutely smoked by the Texans. Kenny Pickett got hurt. C.J. Stroud looked really good, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. But man, the Steelers defense, what the hell happened, man? 30 points got hung up on them. I thought Pittsburgh was kind of making a step forward, and they took a step back. I don't know if Kenny Pickett will be playing next week. He looks pretty hurt, so we'll see what happens with that. Then we go to Raiders at the Chargers. The Chargers finally look pretty good. Justin Herbert, the Keenan Allen connection was there for the game. The Raiders just aren't very good. I'm not sold on the Chargers either. They're kind of limping through this season. The defense hasn't really been great. Either has the offense. Both of these teams, Kansas City has been really fortunate that no one in the AFC West has stepped up at all, because the Raiders and the Chargers and the Broncos are all terrible. They're going to, close their eyes and win that division for sure. And then another game that surprised me this past week, the Patriots didn't even show up to Dallas at all. Mac Jones, they need to move on from Mac Jones, man. Mac Jones is not an NFL starting quarterback at all. His arm strength is terrible. He was throwing the balls out into the flat and across the outside numbers to the boundary, and he can't throw the ball out there. They were all like humpback liners. He looked like a little leaguer trying to stretch a throw from shortstop to first base. Mac Jones, he's slow. He makes bad decisions, and he's got mediocre arm strength. They need to move on. They need to find a quarterback because Mac Jones is not the guy at all. But the Cowboys look good. The defense bounced back after that terrible performance. Dak Prescott looked okay. CeeDee Lamb continues to get open all the time. There was a nice connection between Ferguson and Prescott. Ferguson made some really good contested catches, 7 receptions, 77 yards. And the 49ers blew out the Cardinals like everyone thought, 35-16. It was a little close at some point, and then in the fourth quarter, they just, took it away. The Cardinals are playing a lot better than I thought they were going to this year. I've been very critical of Jonathan Gannon, but he's got the Cardinals bought into his scheme and his culture there in Arizona, so it'll be interesting to see how they play moving forward. And then we have the Chiefs, who just escaped a Jets team. Zach Wilson looked better no interceptions in this game, but the Chiefs' defense is never great. And the Chiefs always play up to their competition and play down to their competition. That's something you got to watch out if you're going to bet on the Chiefs. When they play bad teams, they kind of play bad. And then when they play good teams, the real Chiefs and Mahomes and Kelsey show up. But they just won with a fourth quarter field goal, 23-20. Let me know in the comments below, who do you think are the best teams in the AFC and the NFC moving forward? And what teams do you think are cooked and have no chance of making the playoffs? Like, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.